Hi there, Agile friends. Get ready for the World Tour of Agile at the Agile Online Summit 2023. You can join us from October 24th to 26th for a global showcase of cutting-edge Agile practices and insights. Join us at agileonlinesummit.com. This year, we will be featuring some of the best work done around the world and world-class keynotes. You can check all of that at agileonlinesummit.com. But the best part is that your ticket is on us. That's right, it's free to attend and immerse yourself in the world of Agile excellence. Don't miss out on this opportunity to level up your skills and network with peers and industry experts. Mark your calendars and secure your spot at AOS 23 today by visiting agileonlinesummit.com. So get your free ticket or opt for the full digital pass that lets you keep all the conference videos forever and organize, why not, Agile learning sessions at work. You can get the full digital access at agileonlinesummit.com. I'll see you in the conference floor. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Success Thursday, the question of the week. But before that, let's welcome our guest for this week, Aki Salmi. Welcome back.
Hello, Vasco.
So, Aki, we'll talk about success in a second. But first, share with us, what's your favorite retrospective format and why?
This might be a surprise for people. So I've read the book. I've read the book from, I also mentioned that one of the first most influential books for me being a Scrum Master back in the days, 10, 12 years ago. But nowadays, like in my previous company where I worked as a developer, I did run a lot of retrospectives. I started running retrospectives in there just for other teams. I never run retrospectives for my own team. I just don't. 2 hats. No, I don't do it. That's actually one success criteria. We could just have it over there already. Don't run retrospectives.
Let's put that one.
Yeah, where you're sort of giving input also. So my favorite retrospective is Empty Table. I ask people. I introduced this, and I did this a lot in remote settings. So we had a mural, and we had check-in first. So check-in is very important. Start with the check-in. So how do we arrive? So we can all arrive as who we are. I've been in retrospectives where someone said that my grandma died yesterday. Just someone coming up with that, being seen and being sort of. And that's normal. That's also okay in there. Amazing things, just from the trust perspective, from the team's perspective. So starting with the check-in, like a true check-in. How do I arrive here? The empty table. Then I would just sort of start. I say it. Imagine an empty table. Let's gather some topics into this. Let's gather some insights. Let's gather some what has happened, and we just start getting notes on things, like observations. If someone has been frustrated, or someone added actually into the empty table that we had a flower bucket, so we can also send appreciations, easy way to give appreciations to people, just as a note, tiny note in the mural or a mural. So we gather these topics in there, and then there's the next one is figuring out what are we going to talk about. And I used to do a lot of dot voting because I thought that this is a good idea. Then someone sent me a blog post saying that dot voting is there's these issues with dot voting. I've never done dot voting anymore, but we need to make a decision, right? There's 10 very good topics. Any one of those could spark very important, very deep, very meaningful discussions. How do we choose? Who chooses it? Do I choose as Scrum Master? No. How do we choose? Is there a lead who chooses? No. What I actually introduced was I have a randomly I randomly choose one person, anyone. randomly choose one person, I say that that person is the decider. And the decider's only task in that one is, what is the topic that we start with? What is the thing that for the decider would be like personally super important to talk about? What would be the topic that from decider's point of view would be the most important for the team? Or what would be something that would be like very important for one of the persons in the team? For example, if there would be people like with different roles, like designers, QA people, programmers, and if many times a lot of these topics were from like very programming centric, someone could decide that no, now it's actually time to take a QA or a design related thing on these things. So with the decider role, we also practice a bit about the leadership thingy I mentioned of the 4 core characteristics of this thing. And then we start the discussion. And we used to have it in the previous place. We used to have this sort of round that we had people in like we were in round, and we did go in circles. I hate it. I say it's close to BS in many times. But instead, I say like whoever talks. And then what I do is at times, depending on like, I might like empathize them, ask like, is it that you would wish for like, you'd wish for shared reality or something like that? I might just like, as a retrospective facilitator, I might bring my listening skills and understanding to help others to see what is the thing that this one person might be actually looking for. So I'm bringing my skills, listening skills, to the use of the whole. I do that at times. Then there is the 4 characteristics that I mentioned earlier, which was the core task, emotional climate, structures, and leadership. And I could just ask questions related to any of these 4 characteristics more to get more. And then one more other thing is that I got a feedback from this from the conference where we were, that there is no awkward silence in my retrospectives. So silence, listening, we practice leadership by having this sort of decider in there, and we can talk about anything important. That's my favorite retro format.
Absolutely. Definitely list some of these steps also in the show notes below, but definitely go back and listen to this explanation. There's a lot of nuggets of wisdom there. But Aki, we must move now to success and what it means for us as Scrum Masters. So share with us, what's your definition for success as a Scrum Master?
I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. In the end, I think the thing that matters is that there's like growth in the team, that the team sort of there's some growth in the team. What we could do that is we could track the usefulness of retrospectives, like return on time investment or something like this, if we could track those after each retrospectives. What I've seen is the success of running retrospectives is how sort of the discussion within the retrospective changes from it's the other like department's fault, or we can't do anything here because of the others, and when it changes into, so what can we do? So when the sort of focus changes into what can we do as a team, or when the focus goes more into sort of the systemic issues that, okay, we are here in a bubble, but what about the other parts of the organization? How can we bring things like closer? So when the focus goes from the code into more like systemic things. But how do I measure? Glad you didn't ask, like, how do you measure success? Because that would be for me like even less idea.
So when you look at these aspects of retrospectives that you just mentioned, so what can we do as a team, focusing on systemic issues, or what are the behaviors that you see that tell you that the team is going in that direction, right? Because sometimes as Scrum Masters, we need to kind of spark that movement, right? We can ask a few questions, we can bring an outsider, whatever. But how do you, when you're looking at teams and their discussions, how do you see that they are moving in the right direction?
I have like two thoughts in my head when I've seen like magic changes, like huge changes. One was exactly the thing that I said was there was oftentimes like this. Well, we would do this, but the business. We could do this, but the market thing, whatever. We could do this, but the clients. And this was like where we started with. And then there was this magic moment of one two retros when we started, me and the other Scrum Masters, we started to realize that now the focus is what can we do? What could be the small thing we can do? Not just saying that we could but. So the but was sort of missing out of these conversations. There was focus on what are the small experiments that we can do? What are the small things that we can do? What can we try?
Absolutely. And in your experience, one of the things that I see as a difficult, let's say, mental and even psychological hurdle is to go from our team to the wider system. What are the things that you have sensed can help the team move in that direction to understand the implication and also to understand what they need from the wider system?
This is a good question. I don't know if I have like examples of this. Maybe there's one example. No, there's actually, this comes from one of the teams that I was running retrospectives in the previous place for. I think I did that for a year or so. And I started to see like, it sort of started with thinking of what are we doing wrong, and then it started there became this massive curiosity on things, like curiosity on how could we, and there's this question of what if. And I think that was like it's not like it doesn't like fully answer to this question of yours. So that is something that like a challenge also for me to witness, to bring this more systemic awareness into the teams. This was a very good question. Thank you for that.
Well, one of the things that I think we don't ask often enough as Scrum Masters is this idea of what would we need in order for this whatever problem, impediment, conflict to go away. And one of the things that I realize, at least from my practice, is that once the teams are asked to imagine something different, they will come up with many different ideas. Now, not all of those ideas will be possible, and that's okay. We don't even need for those ideas to be possible. In fact, I think it would be better for some of those ideas to be impossible, because that also gives you an insight that the team is thinking beyond their current box, and that's a very important systemic step, right? Thinking about systems. But we just need to get an idea for an experiment, right? And if I say something, well, it would be great if this were true, then you can take that and then move it into something different, but that is an experiment in that direction, right? Like it would be really great if our customers wouldn't complain every time we release software. And by the way, I complain a lot about many people out there releasing software to my phone and screwing up what I'm trying to do. So I know I'm there, but you know, I could ask that question. Wouldn't it be great if people wouldn't complain about us delivering software more often? And then the team can go and run with it and say, okay, so what are they complaining about? Right? And then, you know, move on. And this invites systemic thinking, because we're talking about other people complaining about us doing something, right? And then we can think about, okay, so what's wrong here, right? Like it's not just the code, because if it were just the code, everything would be fine. You could release software all the time, but it's not just the code. It's maybe it's the installation process, maybe it's the communication, whatever that might be.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you, Aki, for sharing your thoughts and insights. I especially recommend going back and listening to the Empty Table Retrospective format again. That was great. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you also for letting me be here.
Part of a successful Scrum Master job is to help the product owner. Tomorrow we explore that critical role in Scrum, the product owner role. Tune in to learn about product owner anti-patterns, what you can do to help the product owner, and a real-life example of what a great product owner is and what made it so. Tomorrow on our Friday Product Owner episode. See you tomorrow. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.